Choosing a luxury hotel can honestly be overwhelming. You open booking.com, there are dozens of 5-star hotels and they all have beautiful photos. They all claim to have amazing service. And somehow you're supposed to figure out which one is actually worth your money. After staying at more than 15 luxury hotels, I've developed a pretty good system for this. I use booking.com as my search engine just to narrow everything down. Then I put everything into my Google spreadsheet. I research my top 5 on YouTube and social media, narrow those down to 3, and only then I decide which hotel I'm going to book. So if you're planning a luxury girls trip and you have about 25 tabs open, this is exactly how I would narrow them down. So most of the time I already know where I want to go, so I have the destination set and all I need is a good luxury hotel. And when that happens, the first place I go is booking.com. So step 1 in this process is I use booking.com as a search engine. And I specifically say search engine because I actually never use booking.com to actually book a hotel. I just really like it for the research. I really like the filters you can use. You can make it super specific. It's very clear. I love the interface. So the filters I use on booking.com are hotels, 5 stars and 9+. That's where I start. And the 9+ are the review scores. Then I just start going through the results. First thing I look at isn't the price, isn't the location, but it's the vibe. I really have to feel it. The first thing I look at are the images. Because I know what kind of hotel I like. And I can spend my time looking at searching for the right price, the right location. But if the vibe is not there, then I'm not staying there. If I see a hotel that's very minimalistic, very black and white, very gray, very uncolorful, then it's not my hotel. I like color, I like personality, I like a hotel that feels alive. And obviously your taste might be very different than mine. Maybe that very minimalist hotel is what you love. So then definitely go for it. Before you start comparing ratings and prices, make sure that it's a hotel that you love. Figure out what kind of hotel would make you excited. And that's different for everyone. For someone, it might be that it has a very big spa. For someone else, it might be that they have a rooftop with a pool. Step 2, everything goes into a spreadsheet. Once I found the hotels that pass the first vibe check, they go into my Google spreadsheet. And yes, I have a hotel spreadsheet. Take this very seriously. For each hotel, I choose one photo that represents the hotel best and I put that into the spreadsheet so that I know exactly, I have the right overview, I know exactly which hotel offers what. And then I start comparing them. I look at the room, at the location, the booking.com rating, the amenities, everything goes into the spreadsheet. And then I basically rate the hotels for how I feel like, how well, for example, their wellness is, for how well I feel like the location is. One thing that's almost a non-negotiable for me is a spa. It should have a spa. A 5-star hotel should have a spa. And a good one. And I freaking love rooftops. Give me a beautiful rooftop with an amazing view and you're already scoring points. This is where I think that you have to personalize your spreadsheet because what's important to me might not even be important to you. Then step 3 is decide what matters for this actual trip. So before you choose the hotel, ask yourself, what do I actually want from this trip? Because the hotel for one girl's trip might not be the hotel for another girl's trip. Maybe you're going to Rome and you already know that you will spend most of your time exploring, eating out and shopping. And location might be incredibly important. Or maybe you are spending a luxury girls weekend and you want to spend most of your time at the spa inside the hotel. And obviously the spa is the most important thing. For me, location is always very high on the list because it's very important to me where you stay. Generally want to be either in or very close by to the center. I don't want to be near the clubs because no, give me peace. I want the restaurants nearby, I want the culture nearby, and I definitely want shopping nearby. Usually I try to pick out a hotel that is basically 10 minutes walk from everything. That is the perfect scene. And this is also why you shouldn't just look on a map and see that a hotel is in the center and just feel like, okay, I'm going to book it. It's in the center, perfect. Because you might regret it, and I learned that the hard way. One of the biggest mistakes I made choosing a hotel based on location wasn't actually in Europe, it was in LA. It is very different in Europe and in the US, because in Europe you want to be basically downtown. You want to be close to where everything is. That in mind, I booked my hotel in LA and I booked it in downtown, and I felt like, okay, we're going to be right in the middle of it. Yeah. That was a mistake. We were in a pretty dangerous part of LA. But okay, the hotel was amazing, and I'm glad that the taxis were like literally right in front and I didn't have to cross the street. So central doesn't automatically mean good. You have to explore. A thing I learned is that when you are close to the luxury shopping street, it cannot be wrong. I literally never experienced that. So if you want to be sure that you have the right location, then just look for the luxury shopping street and look nearby, and you will have a great space. Step 4, I narrow the list down to 5 hotels. Once I've compared everything in my spreadsheet, I narrow it down to 5 hotels. And that is when the deeper research starts. Because I'm not going to watch 30-minute videos from 25 hotels. Then we would be here until next year. But when I have my top 5, I'm going into that deeper research. I'm going to watch more in-depth videos of those hotels. And the first place I go is YouTube. Step 5, I look for real videos of the hotel. I think YouTube is the best social media channel where you can look for hotel reviews, because you have longer videos on YouTube, so they will show you exactly how it is instead of just short clips that you see on Instagram, you know? And I also think that the content on Instagram is more like, it has been made like dreamy and aesthetic and all of that. While I feel like on YouTube, it is more like real, authentic. You can actually see someone walking through the hotel. So you can see the size of the lobby, you can see what the rooms look like, how big they actually are. You can see the pool, the rooftop, the hallways, the restaurant. You see literally everything. You get a much better feeling of the hotel than like all these short clips that you have on Instagram or TikTok. So that's why I prefer YouTube. And I actually learned how important this step is from a recent experience. Because I was looking at a hotel in Paris. I looked online, I didn't find anything on YouTube except one YouTube short. It was all about, yeah, it's amazing, blah, 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 you know. And I feel like YouTube short is basically the same essence as an Instagram or TikTok. So I didn't find anything else on YouTube. So I booked the hotel without doing more research, better research. And it was actually disappointing. And that was such a shame, because the content that I did find, the shorter videos, were lyric about the hotel. So I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so good. And then I just got disappointed, and that sucks. You don't want that. Looking back, there was kind of a warning sign, because there was nothing to be found on YouTube. So I should have looked into that more deeply than I actually did, which was my mistake. And now you immediately see where that mistake takes you. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't horrible or anything like that. It wasn't like, oh my God, I wish I never booked this hotel. No, but it just wasn't as good. You know, it was twice the money that I paid for a different hotel, but that other hotel was way better in service. That's where this hotel actually lacked in. It was service that they offered and what they did for their guests and how they communicated with their guests. So now if I look at a hotel and I do research on a hotel and I cannot find anything on YouTube, I'm going to dig deeper. And if I cannot find anything, then I think I'm just going to skip it. If people have been staying there for years, there should be information. So don't make a very expensive hotel decision based on one 20-second video. That's my tip here. Step 6, pay attention to what people say about service. There are a lot of reviews on booking.com, a lot of honest reviews, and you really want to look for, okay, what are the reviews saying? There are a lot of people that are just complaining to complain, so watch out for those. So if you see like one review that was like, oh, the service was bad, everything was terrible, because I found a review like that, for example, on the Rome edition. The Rome edition was a freaking amazing hotel, I can tell you that. You have to filter those out. But if you see a review on bad service and you scroll through different reviews and it keeps coming back, that's a red flag. Because a hotel, it can have everything. It can have the spa, it can have the rooftop, it can have incredible rooms, it can look tremendously, and then in the end it might still not feel luxurious, because the actual luxury, it's the staff, it's the service. In my opinion, that makes a hotel luxury. Then we get to the next step. I narrow my top 5 down to my top 3. So after all of that research, I can pretty easily eliminate at least 2 hotels of my top 5. Something will come up in a video that I didn't love. If I look at a hotel and I watch the video and I see like, oh, this is a letdown. As soon as I have that feeling, it goes off the list. That says enough for me. So now I'm down to 3. And that's where I look back at my spreadsheet again, at the overview. I seriously compare everything together. So I take the other hotels, I take them out for a clear overview. Basically look at the price, what the price gives me, and not which one is the lowest and that's what I will book. But what is the price? What do you get for the price? What is the difference between the other 2 hotels? And what will you get at the other 2 hotels for that price? Because I don't always book the most expensive. I don't always book the cheapest. I book the one that gets me the most for my money. What's very important to me is a view. I love a good view. So that is basically what I look at. Then based on the price, I will decide what I will book. Step 9, you always want to book directly at the hotel. They often have loyalty programs. If I'm not a part of their loyalty program, I sign up for it before I book the hotel. It will get you perks while you're booking it, while you're making the reservation. And also you will be treated differently when you are at the hotel because you are a member. So they value you. So never book it through booking.com or any other website, because you will always get the best price if you book directly. If you're planning a luxury girls trip within Europe, make sure to subscribe, because I'm sharing honest luxury hotel reviews and everything I've learned along the way from different destinations in Europe. If you ask me, Europe is heaven on earth. It offers so much. I'm glad that I can explore everything that Europe has to offer. So make sure to subscribe if you want to know more about the beauty of Europe. And then I will see you next week.